Hi, Jim Berger from Washington Trade Daily. This is a question on small and medium-sized businesses. First of all, I admit that I haven't read the 5,000 pages.
Shocking, Jim.
But in the beginning, I thought there was a lot of interest in small business of setting up a sort of a common portal where small business and medium-sized business in all 12 nations could sign on and see exactly what the regulations are. All kinds of other data. I know Commerce does that, but is that in the 5,000 pages, or what happened to it?
Yes, and that's actually one of the real benefits of TPP is that for the first time having a small and medium-sized enterprise chapter is a new innovation to the trade agreement, one that we think important. But that is one of the provisions that is in TPP. And recognize it, because we do one of the bread and butter of what the Department of Commerce does, what our USIACs do domestically and our Foreign Commercial Service does, is helping these types of companies. And I mentioned our NEI initiative earlier, because one of the things that our team realized is many companies export, but a huge percentage, like over 90% of companies that export, only export to one market, and that was usually Mexico and Canada. So the opportunity to help U.S. companies to grow that footprint and to grow their manufacturing and to give them this access in these markets, and frankly, with rules that are transparent and clear. Because one of the biggest challenges, I've been to small businesses around the country talking about, how they do their exporting, and it's really intimidating. It's hard. For a big company, like many of the folks sitting in the room, it's pretty easy because you have a lot of lawyers and you have really sophisticated overseas operations. But for the, small manufacturer in my hometown of Syracuse, New York, the idea of exporting to Vietnam is really kind of intimidating and scary. So one is having the support, and I will brag that we have a fantastic USIAC director in Syracuse, so that helps. But then also them having a pipeline to all of these TPP economies and having a team here at the Department of Commerce at our different country desks who are working very closely to put together both market-focused plans for the 11 TPP countries and also sector-focused plans, so we can make sure that we're looking at sectors that have high growth opportunities in those markets and that we're helping them.
Other questions?
Let me anticipate one, which is actually something somebody said to me on the way in the door, but it's important because one of the questions that I was asked was, how does this impact foreign direct investment? And I think actually there is one of these in the series will have some focus on that coming up, but I'm going to steal a little bit of the thunder. Because one of the things that we discovered in doing TPP, and one of the things, our Select USA program was created by President Obama and is run by former ambassador to Costa Rica, Nathan Malopoli. One of the things that we have found in the process of trying to attract foreign direct investment to the United States and create jobs right here is companies, when they look at where to manufacture, look at the number of trade agreements we have because they want to use their manufacturing here as an export platform to export overseas. And there was one, and I'll just give an example, one of the auto companies, there is a reason that we have not had a new foreign auto plant built in a number of years in this country. And the reason is, and we discovered this as we were trying to actually, with the Department of Commerce, persuade one of the big auto companies when they were looking whether to invest in the United States or Mexico. And we were working them very hard, and Penny and I were working the phones and talking to their chairman and their CEO, encouraging them why the United States is such a great place to invest. And in the end, when they made their decision, unfortunately, they made the investment in Mexico. But the reason isn't what you might think. When they came back to us and said, so what was it? Was it labor costs? They said, no, that was not why we did it. I said, well, why did you choose to locate the investment in Mexico rather than the United States? And it simply came down to one thing. Mexico had more trade agreements with other countries. So they could use Mexico as an export platform to export automobiles more easily than they could do it from the United States. So that was the differentiator. And one of the things that's great about TPP is we'll be evening that up a little bit and making sure that as the United States becomes an attractive export platform, that companies, that will be another reason why they will locate FDI here. And I think particularly with what's going on in the world economy, and you look at capital flows, one of the reasons that the United States right now is seen as the safest bet in the world, and it's rule of law, it's low energy costs, it's great research, it's all those reasons. But I also think adding the number of trade agreements that you can use the U.S. as an export platform is another one of the factors that just makes the U.S. a great place to invest right now.
There's a question back there and then Bob. So.
Ira Kenowitz from Atlantic News Service. I have to ask this question. Ford obviously pulled out from Japan and this week and Indonesia, and it indicated that the TPP was a concern. So Ford is saying that TPP is bad for it. You're saying it's good for it. Why are you right and why are they wrong?
Well, so I don't want to speak for them because one of the things I learned a long time ago is not to speak for other people. But I believe, and this is my understanding, is their critique of TPP actually goes to that they don't believe that it should have enforceable currency provisions in the trade agreement. And I have to actually give Jack Lew and the team in Treasury, who I think is very focused. Obviously, currency is an important issue, and there are definitely concerns, and particularly as we see a stronger dollar, making sure that our trading partners are not using currency as an export promotion platform. There are plenty of reasons, and we in the United States at times, the Federal Reserve has made monetary decisions based on domestic economic factors, but we don't believe that improving export competitiveness is something that should be, it should be what our trading partners should be using their currency. And so what Ford was looking for, and I understand their concern, their competitive concern, was having this part of the trade agreement. And what the USTR and Treasury teams did, because the good news in the Commerce Department is we're not the currency agency, is they went and they did a side agreement with the countries. It's not part of the agreement because I think there was a recognition that our trading partners were not going to include a currency provision as part of the trading agreement. But Treasury did go out and work with those countries to get a strong agreement included in conjunction in parallel to the TPP.